Madame Zidore? How is it with her, Boutron? I believe God has forgotten her here on earth." "It isn't that, your reverence," said Boutron, "but it's neither God nor the devil that wants her." And Père Antoine laughed with a jovial frankness that took all sting of ill nature from his very pointed remarks. Lalie did not reply when he spoke of her grandmother. She only pressed her lips firmly together and picked nervously at the red bandana. "I have come to ask, Monsieur Antoine," she began lower than she needed to speak, for Azor had withdrawn at once to the far end of the porch, "to ask if you will give me a little scrap of paper, a piece of writing for Monsieur Chartrand at the store over there. I want new shoes and stockings for Easter, and I have brought eggs to trade for them. He says he is willing, yes, if he was sure I would bring more every week till the shoes are paid for." With good-natured indifference, Père Antoine wrote the order that the girl desired. He was too familiar with distress to feel keenly for a girl who was able to buy Easter shoes and pay for them with eggs. She went immediately away then, after shaking hands with the priest, and sending a quick glance of her pathetic eyes toward Azor, who had returned when he heard her rise, and nodded when he caught the look. Through the vines he watched her cross the village street. "How is it that you do not know Lalie, Azor? You surely must have seen her pass your house often. It lies on her way to the Bon Dieu." "No, I don't know her. I have never seen her," the young man replied as he seated himself after the priest, and kept his eyes absently fixed on the store across the road where he had seen her enter. "She is the granddaughter of that Madame Isidore." "What? Ma'am Zidore, whom they drove off the island last winter?" "Yes, yes. Well, you know, they say the old woman stole wood and things. I don't know how true it is, and destroyed people's property out of pure malice." "And she lives now on the Bon Dieu?" "Yes, on Le Blow's place, in a perfect wreck of a cabin. You see, she gets it for nothing. Not a Negro in the place, but has refused to live in it." "Surely it can't be that old abandoned hovel near the swamp that Michon occupied ages ago." "That is the one, the very one." "And the girl lives there with that old wretch?" The young man marveled. "Old wretch, to be sure, Azor. But what can you expect from a woman who never crosses the threshold of God's house, and who even tried to hinder the child doing so as well? But I went to her. I said, 'See here, Madame Zidore,' you know it's my way to handle such people without gloves. 'You may damn your soul if you choose,' I told her. 'That is a privilege which we all have, but none of us has a right to imperil the salvation of another. I want to see Lalie at Mass hereafter on Sundays, or you will hear from me.' And I shook my stick under her nose. Since then the child has never missed a Sunday. But she is half starved, you can see that. You saw how shabby she is, how broken her shoes are. She is at Chartrand's now, trading for new ones with those eggs she brought, poor thing. There is no doubt of her being ill-treated. Boutron says he thinks Madame Zidore even beats the child. I don't know how true it is, for no power can make her utter a word against her grandmother." Azor, whose face was a kind and sensitive one, had paled with distress as the priest spoke, and now at these final words he quivered, as though he felt the sting of a cruel blow upon his own flesh. But no more was said of Lalie, for Père Antoine drew the young man's attention to the carpenter work which he wished to entrust to him. When they had talked the matter over in all its lengthy details, Azor mounted his horse and rode away. A moment's gallop carried him outside the village. Then came a half-mile strip along the river to cover. Then the lane to enter, in which stood his dwelling midway upon a low, pleasant knoll. As Azor turned into the lane, he saw the figure of Lalie far ahead of him. Somehow he had expected to find her there, and he watched her again as he had done through Père Antoine's vines. When she passed his house, he wondered if she would turn to look at it. But she did not. How could she know it was his? Upon reaching it himself, he did not enter the yard, but stood there motionless, his eyes always fastened upon the girl's figure. He could not see, away off there, how coarse her garments were. She seemed, through the distance that divided them, as slim and delicate as a flower stalk. He stayed till she reached the turn of the lane and disappeared into the woods. Mass had not yet begun when Azor tiptoed into church on Easter morning. He did not